Hey, yo, man, what up? It's your boy Reggie Roundz, a.k.a. Mr. Roundz, baby. And you are now tuned in to the Reggie Roundz Show. Ooh. Yeah, happy. How y'all doing? How y'all doing, everybody? What's going on? And I mean, happy Sunday to y'all. I got two lovely people up here today. Please introduce yourselves.
Name is Henry.
I'm Rhonda.
All right. And thank you for being a guest on the Reggie Roundz Show. I brought y'all up here because I got a nice little discussion to talk about with you guys. But first off, for the people, tell everybody where y'all from. What do y'all do for a living? What's your zodiac sign and what's your love language?
Well, we're from Orange, and we definitely love language. I would have to say my love language is communication. Yeah.
Okay.
Zodiac sign, Scorpio.
Scorpio in the building all day. You already hear that?
Yes.
Scorpio team out here. I mean, what about you, Henry?
Virgo.
Hey,
man.
Virgos.
Hey, don't hate.
Yeah, Virgos.
You already know. Live in Orange, but I grew up in South Orange, and then I moved to Annandale, so I've been all over a little bit. I love language. Listening.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
important.
Okay. I mean, the only reason I asked that is because our topic today is we are going to be talking about, marriage, relationships in that sense. And, I knew you guys for a while now. And I think that, this actual topic here would be great to put you guys on here. And I just want to, ask your opinions and dissecting your marriage a little bit. If that's okay with you guys, just to see how to give an aspect to my listeners and to my viewers of how, somebody that's, seasoned in this game, and the game will know how to, take advantage and, handle things, you know what I'm saying? Right. So, first off, where did y'all guys meet?
Church. I'll tell it. Church. I was about 20, 21. Mm-hmm. And I was, at that point in my life, I was just kind of focusing on getting my relationship with God right. I made some wrong moves and wrong turns. And at an early age, I just kind of wanted to be done with living reckless, the foolishness. So
YOLO? You was done with the YOLO?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
And so I made up in my mind that I was going to kind of focus on that. So I went to church, me and my cousin. Now, Rhonda, her mom, and my mother, they were friends.
Okay.
So
They went to the same church.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to church there. I didn't go to church at all, actually. I
Okay.
mean, I grew up in the church, and I was certainly a Christian, but I just wasn't going to any churches at that particular time.
Okay.
And,
similar to about me, like I'm in religion, but I don't actually follow what you call it right now. I actually go to a foundation, a church, anything. So I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah,
so my mom invited me to their church. They were having a prayer meeting, and I was like, okay. At first, I kind of fought her on it, but I was like, okay, I'll go. And when I went, I met him and his cousin.
Yeah.
And we talked briefly. We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't have there wasn't a love connection or anything like that.
Okay.
We just talked briefly.
I
had a mutual friend that was there as well with me, and he was friends with David, but I call him David. I'm sorry, his name is Henry David.
My middle name is David, so.
But he's a third, so we just
Okay.
But my mutual friend was friends with him, and he kind of had an introduction or whatever. But like I said, it wasn't anything there yet. And then the second time we met was
this youth outing.
Yeah, they had like a little outing, and they asked us to chaperone.
Nice little movie scenario. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we chaperoned.
And
He
the
was
person
already
that brought you there.
Yeah, my friend, he
Rhonda.
ditched me for a girl that he was liking, and
sounds about right. That's pretty much he threw the assist. You know what? I'm gonna leave y'all here, all right, guys.
Yeah.
I didn't even know him.
You didn't really know me,
or
so.
anything. So
No.
I mean, I didn't know anybody there. It was my first time.
Wow.
So he was like, "But I want to take her home." Yeah, he
Threw
threw
it
me
to
to
the
the
wolves.
wolves.
Yeah.
And he was like, "But I found you a ride." And
that was me.
he found him, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take her home." So I hopped in the car with him and his cousin, and
we just talked. And what was interesting though is Rhonda was the first woman that I heard talking about God. Like, I'm like, wow, okay. She has a relationship with God, kind of like where I was.
Mm-hmm.
So we just kind of talked more and more, and for months we just talked on the phone.
Okay.
And then we went out a few times after that, and after our relationship, maybe about 6 months down the road, my pastor was asking me, "So what's going on with you?"
So let me ask y'all. So what did y'all see in each other that made y'all feel like, okay, he or she is the one?
Well, that's a good question. So along those lines, like I said, we were in counseling. We decided to, figure out where this thing could go, if we were for each other or not. And part of that journey, you could find out that you're not meant to be with that person, or you could find out that you're meant to be with that person. Thankfully, our journey led us to knowing that we were meant for each other. We fundamentally had the same goals, and at the core of where we were was God first. And
she always says she fell in love with my spirit.
Oh wow, okay.
Yes.
That's a deep connection right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We spent so much time talking and so much time sharing ideas and thoughts and visions and dreams that, it was his spirit first that attracted me.
Okay.
And not the outside of the person in
Y'all
his
hear that?
heart.
Y'all hear that? If y'all want some genuine love, make sure y'all spirit connection. Y'all feel me? So how long did y'all decide? How long did it take y'all to decide that y'all, you know what, I want to get married?
Say about a year and a half in our relationship is when we decided that we wanted to get married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you say about the people that be like 6-7 years before they take that time? Do you think there's a time stamp on when you should get married? Because there's people that's been engaged for like 8 years. Right?
Long time.
I mean, so
It don't take that long.
It don't take that
to
long.
know what you know.
It don't take that long.
It don't take that long.
If your dude out here taking 8 years to marry you, I don't know, y'all.
It's either you must have the perception of a potato or attention span of a gnat. If you can't see after, I'll be honest with you. If you know what you're looking for, and you know what you're not looking for, if you have some strong convictions about marriage and about relationships, you should be able to see and perceive the answers to those important questions.
Of course. So you don't think people's crazy or weird for getting like meeting somebody in like today and then 6 months later they're already not married? You don't think that's nothing wrong with that?
I'm cautious when I hear that.
Because I was going to say, because for me, I understand love is love, right? But I don't think in 6 months you really know somebody. I call that the 6 months of the honeymoon phase of the relationship, because everything is, I don't even think y'all get y'all real good fight.
Absolutely. You need to know if that joke is going to throw you across the room, slap you.
That's the thing with me, So I'm like, I don't know if this is really going to be there. But, I get what you're saying. So, because there's a lot of people out here that, hey, they don't put really society, not society, but like, modern day today, people don't really put a rush on things. Right. You know what I'm saying? They say if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, because you don't want to feel like you're being pressured. Because, there's some, you do have some women that, hey, look, man, if we together here, you got 2 years to do what you need to go do, or it's going to be like, or it's over and done with. Some people feel like that's kind of crazy, but, I can't really fault them for that, because, hey, that's what their standards that they put in front of you, what I'm saying? Right. So I get that. But one thing that crossed my mind when, doing this or coming up with these questions was, and I know you guys are really religious. Now, do you feel like being equally yoked religiously is important in a relationship?
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
So elaborate for me if you don't mind, if you don't think, because if let's say if I'm Christian and I meet somebody that can be everything that I want, but they're Muslim, you don't think that can work?
So we kind of have to look at what equally yoked means, right? Mm-hmm. You could be in the same space with a person and believe the same things. And like we do in the church, we believe that the fundamental foundation is God, standing upon God, obeying God. If he can obey God and she can obey God, then
that's some type of equally yoked.
right.
Okay.
But
Footing.
here's what happens. There was a person that I felt wasn't equally yoked with another person because of what I believe that person should have. If a person says they're a Christian, for example,
Okay.
then you would think, okay, that person needs to be with a Christian person, the opposite, man or woman. But if that person that says that they're a Christian isn't serious about their relationship with God when it comes to being a Christian, then the other person that they're with may not be serious about their relationship with God being a Muslim.
Okay.
But when you start being serious about being a Muslim and you start being serious about being a Christian, that takes on a different dynamic. So what it means now to be equally yoked for two people that are very serious about their relationship with God in the context of Christianity or being a Muslim, it makes it more difficult for them to see things eye to eye.
Eye to eye. Okay.
Because their views on different subjects are different.
Okay. So because that was my next question. Like, do you think having a foundation in a relationship with God strengthens your marriage?
100%.
Absolutely.
No question.
Yeah.
If you don't have that foundation, then you're kind of, I'll be honest with you, you're like a fish out of water. Because marriage is the water.
Okay.
And sometimes it gets rough.
It's rough, but if you don't have God as at the base, I'll be honest with you, nowadays with what's going on in society, when you look at television, you look at movies, you look at what's going on in politics, the social views are changing. I don't know how a lot of people make it in marriage without God.
Okay. So how would you describe your spiritual life as a couple?
Well, we both have individual relationships with God.
Okay.
I have a relationship with God. He has his relationship with God. But together, we do have a relationship with God together. I don't think that my husband completes me because of his relationship with God, and he doesn't feel the same about me. We both individually have our source that we go to.
Okay.
And then we come together.
Yeah, see, at the base of our convictions about what marriage is a man leaving his father and his mother and coming together with his wife. And the Bible says the two become one flesh. And basically, that's a mystery. It really is. It's a profound type of commitment and loyalty to each other where two people literally become a whole person in that respect.
Okay. So now, I know with relationships, with marriage, sometimes in friendships, how do y'all maintain your individuality in your marriage? Because I know that can, without getting lost into each other, one person, feeling like they're more into another person. So how do y'all maintain your individuality?
Well,
Sure.
all right. So when two people come together, especially in marriage, you're embracing that person. And a lot of times in a healthy marriage, there's space and there's room to grow. But you're sharing each other's lives. You're not taking each other's lives. Mm-hmm. And I think what happens, unfortunately, in a lot of relationships, people lose themselves because they stop growing personally. And instead of sharing, they become dependent on each other.
Okay.
And that's not healthy.
And that usually happens, I think, for most women because we love so hard and, we go hard for the family and we support our, husbands, significant others. And so you tend to feel like, when am I going to find something that I like to do, or, but I say embrace those things. There's in your relationship, they go through changes. It goes through, peaks and valleys, but it's in those times that you're growing constantly. You're developing new tastes.
Of course, because you're not the same person you were 2 years ago. How
Absolutely.
I say it, I'm not the same person I was yesterday. So I get it. So at the end of the day, you're constantly evolving within yourself. But like I said, what tends to happen, like you said, is that people tend to lose themselves in putting themselves on the back burner and putting everybody else in front of them.
Right.
So I feel like that's one thing that happens. Not, like I said, just not in marriage, just not in relationship, even in friendships. You know, you feel like you're doing way more than you feel like somebody else is doing for you. So and that's one thing that I feel like, I think us as individuals, as human, need to learn how to balance a little bit more, because of the simple fact that, especially if you're a natural person that cares, you're automatically going to be like, let me just put myself back here, just go ahead and do that. And it's not a bad thing, but it's also not a good thing as well too.
There needs to be a balance.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I notice about people who are big lovers, they have the tendency or the temptation to be enablers, because they don't understand that love can be soft. But what softens love is truth. Love, because
a lot of people
truth
not ready
is
for
hard.
the truth. I was about to say, a lot of people not ready
Truth
for
is
that
hard.
truth.
But you know what? You have to soften truth with love. So there's a mix, a balance. And this is a big thing that I realize. A lot of people that are in relationships, especially if they're young and they're still discovering who they are, they lose themselves because they're not healthy.
Okay.
And if two unhealthy people come together, they can lose themselves in each other.
Okay.
And so now you're pulling from each other, and it's just not a healthy dynamic. People really need to work on themselves before they get involved in these intense relationships that really they're just not ready for.
All right. So how do you because I know you guys have kids, do you feel like having children change the demographics of your relationship?
No question. No question. No question.
Because in relationships and anything, that goes back to what I'm saying, like, that little human being there is like, now, you got to provide, you got to put yourself to the back, because you got to make sure they're all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I feel like sometimes you have a lot of people that tend to, for me, some people tend to use that as an excuse when it has their kids, because they tend to, I can't do this, I can't do that because I'm working on, I got the kids and everything else. So, because I know people that know how to, like you say, it's all about balance. They know how to balance all of that. But then some people just let themselves go because they're just so focused about that, which is not a bad thing, because at the end of the day, that's your child, your kids, whatever. But at the same time, in order to keep your individuality, you're being strong for yourself, I think like they should definitely be a balance. And I know, like I said, you have guys got kids, I got kids. I know my boy, he all over the place and everything else. So sometimes you could definitely see yourself getting lost in that, and that changes anything. Because sometimes, hey man, we used to have date nights on Fridays. Now you can't even have that. Now I gotta be family time on Fridays. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely see that now. For yourself, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to speak on that just a few seconds. One of the things about children is, yes, they do change everything in a relationship, but they grow up and they leave, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have to remember that before there was children in the picture or a child in the picture, there were you and that person.
Right.
Okay.
And that needs to take priority. And that means you have to step away and say, wait a minute, there's a time and a place for everything.
Order.
There's an order to everything. And what we used to do was, we had to put our little one to sleep. So we would put him in a car and have our date night. And when we ride around with him in the back seat.
And that's crazy, because that's my next question. Like, how do you guys keep the love fresh? Like, we don't know, with everything going on, how do you still love each other, like continually loving each other?
Well, the word love is a
it's
a choice.
Yeah. We and that's the key. It's a choice. You choose, and you're always making decisions to love. And when you realize how again, I mentioned order. You know, your wife is number one. Your wife is the most important. So when you have to make decisions to put your wife first, and sometimes in a relationship, the children become number one. Mm-hmm. And so how do we do that is we're, like Rhonda mentioned one way, you have to look for creative ways to navigate, but you have to make it a priority. Mm-hmm. We have to spend our time together.
Okay.
That's the best way to say it.
So how do you feel about, talking to you, Andy, how do you feel about the phrase happy wife, happy life?
There's some truth to that, big time.
So see, with me, I say I want to change the narrative on that, because for me, I just feel like it's all about her. Like then if you deep dive into that, I feel like, okay, what about myself? If she's happy, I understand she's happy, but what if I'm not happy, but I'm just worried about her happiness? So I change it around to say happy spouse, happy house. That's what I say, you know what I mean? Because now it's focusing on both of us as opposed just to individuality. But a lot of people, I get a lot of back talk to that, like no, it doesn't matter. But I just feel like it should be collective.
I'm going to bring up something that may be a little controversial, but I think if people are honest in a relationship, in the dynamics between a man and a woman, when you say happy, that's like an emotional place. Mm-hmm. And I think for men, we're built to endure certain circumstances where we may not be happy all the time.
Is that fair, though?
Well, fair. Is it fair that we work? Is it fair sometimes that we have to work harder in situations? Do we want equality in every circumstance? I don't think it's about being fair. I think it's about understanding your position, your role in the relationship.
So you talk about gender roles.
Well, absolutely.
So you believe in that?
Well, no question. I believe that in any relationship, mm-hmm. there are roles and responsibilities that each person has to agree to take. Now, what does that mean? My wife may be better at handling finances than me. So does that mean, being the man, that I should handle all of the money mm-hmm. like that just because I'm a man? No.
You might end up homeless.
We may end up with some real problems. But I do believe when it comes to happiness, I believe a man should definitely make the sacrifices to make his wife happy. And that means sometime enduring some hardship and not using our wife as a emotional garbage can just because we want to be happy in that same way. But don't get me wrong, there is a certain level of peace and happiness that a woman should also give a man.
I was going to speak to that.
Yeah.
Because, yes, it's important for the wife to be happy, but that works to your benefit, because if you're trying to make me happy in the sense of emotionally happy, I'm going to work just as hard to make sure that you're comfortable and you're at peace when you walk in the door. So I'm setting the environment, because I know when you come home, you don't need to be happy. You need to be decompressed.
Okay.
You need to be at peace.
Okay. Listen, I'm telling you, this is a conversation that I have with a lot of my friends. I'm on an app called Clubhouse. We talk about this all the time as well too. It's just a lot of things that we're just trying to. And some people say just want to change the narrative. Sometimes it's just it's just like some of the old traditional things kind of sound like it's just one way. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people tend like they want to just let me just equal it out. Vice versa. A lot of women feel the same way. You just based on certain things, just like, and you could tell like it was just made just for men, you know what I'm saying? So it's just in that sense where it's like, you just want to try to change the narrative a little bit, but with your explanation, definitely understand what you're saying, because like I said, perspective is whatever it is, because I can come in here saying, hey, I think it's that way. But, when I hear from a different perspective and explain to me in the right way or communicate to me in the right way, I can get what you guys are saying. So now with that, how long you guys been married?
23 years.
23 years. Now, if there's one thing you can change about your marriage, what would it be and why?
That's a tough question.
I'm trying to say something without getting in trouble. Trying to set me up, brother.
Watch out.
No, I would definitely personally change certain decisions I made when it comes to investing in our security.
Okay.
I think I've become more educated over the years about finances, that I wish I had this level of education when I was younger.
Well, that's a whole nother topic in itself, but
Yeah, but I mean, if I could change anything, because I wouldn't change anything else, because I am who I am today
because of you.
because of our marriage. I wouldn't be this man.
Okay. I like that. Now, what do you think y'all have struggled the most with as a couple?
Struggle the most with.
Oh boy.
Told you I was gonna tap in a little bit.
No, that's a good question.
That is a good
It's
question.
a good question. You want to answer? I mean, you have something.
I think, if I could say anything, it would be, it's always a work in progress to communicate well.
See, there you go. That's my next question.
It's always a work in progress, because there's always dynamics, and you always have to make sure that all the ingredients for good communication are there. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you don't always apply what you know, and you have to go back to it and say, okay, we didn't do that right. We didn't, let's try this again.
Okay.
So that's what I would say.
So being that you brought that, how do you characterize your communication with your spouse?
I would characterize it as, I think we have a strong communication with each other. We're both talkers. I think him more than me. But because he is that type of person, he communicates well. He's taught me how to really dig in and communicate, because for me, I would just brush it off and go to sleep.
Regular Scorpio stuff. I don't even care about all that. Oh, you done? I get it. Like trust and believe. I get it. Because for me, communication is I'm learning. I'm still learning it now, but it was a real tough thing for me, because depending on who you are, the way you communicate. Because if I feel like I'm talking to you, I'll communicate, don't matter to me. But if I don't feel like you're listening to comprehend, then I feel like I'm wasting my time. And that's when, once I get to that phase, it's like, all right, whatever. Now I'm gonna just let you talk just to talk, because that's what you want to do. I feel you want to hear yourself talk. I'm gonna let you talk. All right, you got it. And then I'm gonna keep it moving, because at the end of the day, because I don't feel like you're really listen to me, So and that's where, I think a lot of people tend, because some people they listen to respond but not listen to listen. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's where it gets tough for certain people. Is that exactly? So, another thing. So, how do you guys communicate when somebody or one of you guys are dissatisfied?
Okay,
that's a good one.
That's a good one. Well, one thing you just said, which is at the heart, stamina. I think a lot of people fail or tap out in communication because they lack the emotional stamina in a relationship that it really takes. And so there's some things that you need to do when you first start to communicate and you realize, okay, we're not seeing eye to eye. Just because you don't see eye to eye doesn't mean that there's going to be an argument or there's going to be conflict. there's some warning signs right there. You can decompress or de-escalate, turning down the temperature in the room by following certain principles. One is listen and then validate. That's a big one. When you're talking with a person, before you react or respond, try to tell that person what they just said in your own words. Say, so let me get this right. What you're saying, and then you put it in your own words, because at least that person knows that you're listening.
Now, for me, like I said, this is it's one of my things in my last relationship where it was really a struggle with us, where I felt like, if I'm saying something, I feel like certain things are common sense. That's what I should say. Certain things are common sense that we as adults should already know, yeah, this is wrong, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like when you get to the game where we're playing like, oh, explain to me why I'm wrong, is when I get frustrated, because that's wrong. If I did that to you, you would feel that way. So why do you sit here and tell me to explain to you why it's wrong? And that's where I get frustrated, and I'm looking at you like, what are we doing here? And then that's when I be like, you know what? Because for me, when I get into an argument, I tend to don't say anything because my mind be racing. Mm-hmm. So then I don't want to say something else. I'm gonna sound stupid, or I'm gonna just say something that I'm gonna regret. So I sit there and just wait and just let you talk. But then that irritates them too as well, because you ain't gonna say nothing. I'm like, but I just want to relax, because if I go ahead at 100 miles per hour, how I'm going, then it's not gonna be a discussion. It's gonna be an argument.
It's gonna be a full-on fight.
That's why. But and that's where I feel like it's a struggle for myself. Like if I'm getting into having a discussion with somebody, because you get some people that just wants to sit back and let it cool off a little bit, and you get some people that want to talk about it right then and there. Right. So then that's where another conflict could be at there too. Because if I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it right now. But then if you want to come now, it's like, oh, well, you know what I'm saying. So and it could get, everything could get real sketchy then. You know.
So I want to say you touched on a lot of things, a lot of dynamics that we had. Okay, so one of which is I was that type of person where I had rules for if we're talking, and I have expectations for if we're talking. I expect you to do this, this, and this. And if you're not going in that direction, I'm done talking. And my husband, he is a communicator. That means he wants to see what's going on. He wants to talk about it right now, and he wants to solve it. And so we had to learn how each other operates in that dynamic. And I realized that I was lacking the skills that it took to communicate, because I had these rules. I had this system that I felt that everyone should follow. Mm-hmm. You're wrong. And if you're wrong, you need to say that first.
Exactly.
You need to tell me sorry first. And I had this system. I had it all worked out.
Let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. That's how I am. Let's acknowledge it.
Yes.
Before we start doing any of that, what's like the reason why we're here is because of you. So let's make sure.
Wow. You're gonna start off that one. You're gonna have a real problem. You're gonna say, the reason why we're here is because of you.
You know what I'm saying?
And I need you to realize that so we can just deal with this. That's gonna cause some problems.
You know what it is with me? Because it's a lot of people that don't take accountability, and Absolutely. That's my big thing. Like, it's the first thing, just as human beings, just as anything, you can put anything in a room. Hey, I think you do this first thing, but you do this. Like, before you even think, they're so quick to deflect it right back to you. And then it's like, dang.
And there's a reason for that.
So we have rules of engagement.
We have certain rules of engagement. One, first, number one thing is, if I come to you with a problem, as a rule, you are not allowed to come to me and respond dealing with another problem. You can't do that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do that.
Here
too.
I am. I brought this to you, so this is the plate that's on the table. You are not allowed to put any other plate, move my plate, and bring another plate on the table. So that's number one. And number two, again, taking out the time. What is our purpose here? Because a lot of times people come to talk, not to talk, but they want to come to fight. I'm here to give you a piece of my mind. I'm not here to reconcile. Forget that. I just want you to know this is what's on my mind, and I'm going to give it to you. And so the reason why there's no reconciliation is that's not the intention.
Okay.
You have to be intentional. And if that means sometimes, there's been times my wife didn't want to talk. So I have to be respectful of her space and say, okay, when you're ready to talk, I'm here.
Okay.
At the same time, we have a rule in our home. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath.
Oh, you see it.
That's a big
I was just
rule.
about to ask you
So
that.
I had to get it together
She
quick.
had to learn. She had to listen.
I was going to ask that. That was going to be another question. Like, so how do y'all handle? Do y'all go to sleep?
No,
you
as
know,
a rule, we don't. I'm not going to say there hasn't been times, but I can probably count in 23 years on one hand how many times we actually went to bed angry, because I burn the midnight oil when it comes to listen.
That's no joke.
We're going to do this. You got to, because it's important because of what happens when you go to sleep angry. It does so many things to you psychologically, emotionally.
But what if it gives you the opportunity? Like, you know what? I was mad. I felt like this wasn't even needed to be happening. Maybe it would have been something that was blown out of proportion. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't even that important. You know.
You know what? That comes out in the wash. It's something that happens when you arguing at 3 a.m. and you got to get up at 5. The reality of all of that pride you had at 11 o'clock starts to die down. All that, it's like, listen, it's like 3 a.m. Let's really start to deal with this.
I get you.
So you just have to understand that's the mindset you need to go into when it comes to communication.
But also what happens is, when I would speak for myself, if I ever went to sleep angry, yes, I might have just forgot about it and said, okay, I'm just let that go. But let him do something that's close to what we do.
It builds all that back up.
Then it compiles. Okay. And so
now we got
two problems.
Now something that could have been minute, it'd be a bigger. Okay.
Absolutely. Right. And plus our memory is a short term. What you remember, all those details that you remember 5 days from now, you're not going to remember.
Yeah, that's how I am too. You know, when I have a discussion, and then, you know, after we had a discussion like 2 days, I'm like, damn, I wish I'd have said this when I was around. You know what I'm saying?
I should have said that.
I definitely would get it.
And it's just unhealthy.
So now, with if any, what problem in your marriage do you take accountability for, if any?
All of the problems that is essential, but it comes through having a strong sense of truth as a person. Truth takes courage to face it in yourself and to be honest, because it doesn't always make you look good. You know, we as men, especially I think as black men, we pride ourselves in a certain image. One of the things I had to learn in my own relationship with my wife is to not try so hard to create a false image of who I really am.
Okay.
Because this is my wife, and I can only keep this front up for so long.
Of course. But that's with anything, though.
Yeah. But so what's the truth? See, if you are honestly aware of the things about yourself, you know your tendencies. And so if we do certain things, at least me, there's times I do things and I don't want to admit it. And so I have to deal with that. And your wife, most wives know when their husband is wrong, knows when they're lying, knows when they're cheating. I'll even go there. They know. They may not be able to prove it, but they
just know.
And we walk around like we got something hidden, and we kind of look silly, and we don't think we do, but it's like, are you serious? You really think I don't notice the difference between the way you're taking a shower now and the way you took a shower yesterday? You're taking a different shower. I watch you. I see how you living. And they may not be able to put their finger on it, and so we say, oh, well, you can't prove it, so it didn't happen. We're lying.
It's not even. I'm not gonna say about proving. See, if you try to listen with me, don't come with me with no you doing this if you don't have hard facts, because then
Wow.
because now let's say God, let's sit back and think about it. Let's say if I am right,
Okay.
but you don't know that.
Okay.
But you're saying this. Now it's like, okay, yeah, me as an individual, she feels something. But at the same time, the selfish side of me is like, you ain't catch me doing nothing. So what is all this doing here? Like, what are we doing?
What are we doing here? Right.
So what are we doing here?
We get indignant about it. It's like, you can't.
So now it's like, now you're going here trying to look through my phone. You're doing all this. So now at the end of the day, like I said, that's just us being selfish, because at the end of the day, like you say, they know. They be knowing.
They do.
I mean, and it's like for us, because as for some men, what we tend to do is what you said, the routine and the pattern change. Every morning you come and you do this, and this. You don't think she gonna notice that one time you wake up an extra 30 minutes early. You in there, normally you don't wear these silk boxes, but you got these silk boxes. Like, you know, so
right.
we don't think about stuff like that. We so one track minded. Right. We're like, yeah, let me just do this. And they're in the back just looking like, look at this guy.
Right.
What's going on?
I'm gonna even go a step further, and I'll say the atmosphere that you bring in the house, especially if you're a woman that prides herself on taking care of the home and keeping the atmosphere right for your husband. You know when they bring a different type of atmosphere.
It's that energy. You do feel the energy.
You feel the difference.
You feel it.
And you're like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Right. What did you just bring in this house? Who's sleeping in my bed with me and you? It gets real.
So now, what even brought this together is I was talking to your sister. She said to the context of, it's not, I can't tell it verbatim because it was like probably like 2-3 weeks ago when we had this conversation. She said that if I have a female best friend, once I get married, my female best friend cannot take that journey with me into my marriage. Pretty much, she has to. I have to like pretty much dub her. Can't really, like, It's like if I used to talk to her every day, I probably gotta talk to her once a month type. You know what I mean? And for myself, I couldn't really understand it because I was like, hold up. So 9 times out of 10, if I have a female best friend, my wife, my girlfriend's gonna already know who she is. And if everything in the perfect world, they'll be cool too. You see what I'm saying? Because just for my insanity and my safety, that hey, safety. I want them to enjoy.
Keyword cool. Safety.
So now, if I didn't, when I take my union, I become one, like you said, one flesh with my wife, and essentially, I understand what she was saying, where she said, "Now your wife is your new best friend." I just couldn't gather and comprehend when she said, "I can't talk to, like, I can't really, I really have to cut this person off." And for me, it's like, so then I like to play devil advocate a lot. So I'm like, okay, let's say if I go ahead and do that. Me and you don't work out. Now my supposed to be best friend is gone, and my original best friend is gone. Now I don't have nobody. So what are your views on that? As far as how do you can say pick and choose who crossovers to you with that journey? Because you can't take everybody. I know that. Certain people, my boy that likes to party 36 times a month, he can't come with me. I know that already, you know what I'm saying? Right. But as like, how do you pick and choose and decipher who you feel should come along with you, or should it just be you and them, and should I become and meet new people? You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to know.
Well, I mean, we can use personal experiences. The reality is that before we got married, I remember bringing my wife in my bedroom. I took out my black book.
Oh, you see, you wildin'.
Oh yeah.
You're not.
Hey man, hey, listen.
You see this right here? This just goes away.
Man,
nobody need to see it.
Yeah.
Tuck it and put it in the rafters, but that's it. Yeah. You don't never let nobody see that. You know.
Yeah. I took out my black book. I took out my black box with all my pictures and all of that.
Oh wow.
Because of what I understood about what I was getting myself into.
Okay.
And so we went through it. We went through the pictures. We went through the notes. I had letters. I had all that.
That had to be fun, you know.
Oh, it was interesting.
It was hard.
It was hard. It was hard.
hard.
You know.
But I tried to make it easy.
You were very.
I was
good.
gracious.
You were very gracious. I mean, there was no. Who's that? No, she was just chill. But what?
Was she chill? But she didn't
She was
tell
chill.
you what it is. But you
At
know,
least
I was chill.
Okay,
I'm just not I'm not a jealous person in nature.
Okay,
so
unless you give a reason to be.
Unless then
It's on.
Yeah.
But no, basically, I had to be honest with myself, and like I talked to you about earlier, you have to be honest with yourself. 9 times out of 10, when a man has a relationship with a woman as of the opposite sex, either
you about to say what your sister said.
hey,
Go ahead.
listen, at some point, the sex part is going to get in the way. At some point. It may take a while, but I've yet to see a healthy relationship without real boundaries where the sex part didn't get in the way. When I mean, I don't mean having sex. I mean the sexual attraction. There's things in a marriage.
We're human though, so
okay,
that sexual attraction is going to be there. But I am the individual that says, you know what, I respect this and that, so I'm not gonna go there. But because I have a female best friend, do I think she looks good? Yes, she does. But am I gonna ever take it to that plateau with her? No, because I don't see her in that sense at all.
Not yet.
Not
ever.
See, that's the point. That's the point she was trying to say. It's the not yet, because she was saying that you're looking at the surface level. You got to get deeper into it. I'm like, I get that, but when you're saying the not yet, like, so are you saying to me that there's going to be some time, some way that I'm going to look at her in that way?
If there is a really serious thing going on in your marriage, real deep, where feelings are hurt, communication broke down, you don't have an outlet because you've made this best friend your outlet.
And there's a vulnerable part of
right.
a man that when he's in that place, circumstances. I'm not saying that it will happen. I'm just saying that as a man, one of your responsibilities in your marriage is to protect the safety of your home.
Okay.
Protect the safety of your marriage. And if that, I'm not saying that you can't have a friend that's of the opposite sex. I don't go to that extreme. Okay. But I do say I caution it.
You caution it, okay.
Big time. Because if you're going to, you have to have some very strong boundaries. And they need to be understood between you and your wife and your friend equally.
Okay.
So I've had to do that. I've had to.
We've both had to do that.
There's some friends, but to say my best friend is of the opposite sex, like this person knows how I feel about everything. Whenever I have a problem, I run to my best friend. And now you're married, and you have that friend as your best friend. That's not healthy. That's not safe. It's not wise.
Okay.
It's just
if you've given this part of you over, if you've given this part of you over to that person, you've given a certain percentage of yourself over to your best friend. What chance does your wife have of recovering that if you gave it to someone else?
Okay. See, when you put it in that sense, it makes you think about it in a different perspective. Like I said, it's all about perspective for me. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just going to add this one other thing, because this is something that I remember when I was younger. I would hear a lot of women say, I can't really talk to another woman the way I can talk to you. I don't get along with other women. And I hear that a lot. But when you're married and you understand the dynamics of the relationship, a woman should be able to talk to another woman about issues that deal with women. And so my wife is going to be very suspect if I have a friend that can't talk to her about stuff she can talk to me about. I'm a man. There's certain things I will never understand about a woman, but a woman understands a woman.
And wow, that's crazy. We were just having that conversation today too on the app Clubhouse, where I would never understand what a woman goes through, and a woman could never understand what a man goes through at the end of the day.
Right.
But then we do need that safe space as individuals.
Yes.
As men, we get to talk to as men against each other, and women get to talk with women, and and share their whatever it may be. So
as you get older, that becomes more and more needed.
Yes.
Less and less needed to talk to women about man stuff.
Yes.
When you're young, I think it's a game. I think we're playing it. I think we kind of play around.
Okay. So now this question I like to get your perspective on. Like, is are there any couples you look up to? And if so, what do you respect about their marriage? Because for me, the reason I ask that is because, I feel, for me, it's like if you're married, you tend or want to be around other married couples. That's in, like-minded, that's in the same thing that you're going through. Vice versa, if you don't want to be, I don't want to be the married friend with all my friends are single, just still out here bar hopping, because at the end of the day, it's going to make things just a little bit more difficult for me. So I know for me, growing up, I respected the way, I saw how my father and my moms grew up, so that's where traditionally I think that's what it should look like. But then as I got older, there was a lot of stuff in there too that is like, nah, that's not how it's supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's why I asked you, like, as in your 23 years of you guys being married, do you see anybody else, any other couple, anything else that you see that, wow, I strive to be like that? Or do I feel like, what y'all have going on right now is just is what it is, and you feel like you're making the best example for somebody else?
Well, I believe that what we've done over the last 23 years of our marriage, we've put ourselves around couples that are at least on the same journey, spiritually, in their relationship. So we have a good number of friends that are married, that's been married for anywhere between 15 to 20 years, some 25. And we do also know some people that's been married longer. It's essential that your community is going in the same direction, or at least where you want to go. I look up to my pastor and his wife.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When I asked, when Brandon and Aisha asked me, like, let's hear some of the questions, and that was the question I told them. They already told me you was gonna say your pastor. Already told me. They already told me he's gonna say his pastor. I was
absolutely,
like, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, because you know what?
He was probably the first person. He's observant to begin with, and he never let the stereotype of what a pastor-congregation relationship get in the way of him being a person that respects other people. And when he pulled David aside, the first question, I remember this, we were out of service, and he pulled him aside and he said, "What is your intention with my daughter?" And he looks at him as a son, but he also looks at me as a daughter. So if you're getting involved with my daughter, I want to know what your intentions are.
Okay.
You're not just going to walk around and just say, I like her, and just be hanging out there. So that was I think, big for us. They've been married for well over 40 years. So.
Okay. No, that's good. So as we wrap it up, because, it's about that time, as we wrap up, now, what message would you give to anybody that's thinking about taking a step, or that's in the same journey as you guys, or going to take the same journey as you guys? What message would you have for them?
All right. Well, this is going to be two parts, because one is my genuine advice, and two, maybe a plug. I
was about to get to that, but go ahead.
But, well, then I'll just say the first part. I strongly urge any young person that's in a relationship, that wants to get married or wants to even explore marriage, get with a good counselor.
Okay.
To have premarital counseling.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you're going to marry the person. It means that you're going to explore the relationship in a serious way to determine if you are right for each other.
Okay. And that leads me to this. I know you guys are counselors. Go ahead and put your plug out there so everybody can know where they can find you guys. If anybody that's listening or watching this live, this live recording here, if y'all are, liked what the message they were giving you, to like what they were saying, if you could resonate to what they were going through, where, you probably could have been here, oh, no, I was going through the same thing. Where can they find you guys?
Okay. Well, I can give you my email address. Right now, because of, bless you.
Thank you.
Because of COVID, we've been doing a lot of counseling sessions online.
Okay.
But we can also do, with the right type of social distancing and safety, we can do at-home visits.
Okay.
But you can reach me through my email, D as in David Sparrow, DSPARROW 74@gmail.com.
Okay.
So just email me and we'll take it from there. Or they can contact you.
Yeah, y'all could definitely go ahead and, hit me up on the Reggie Roundz Show. You already know where I'm at, Mr._Rounds with a Z. Put some respect on that Z. And, I would like to say thank you guys for coming up here. I really felt, like I said, this is a type of, episode I feel like, a lot of people should hear, should have some type of input on this, because, for you guys to be married 23 years, something's working. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just be honest with you, because the divorce rate is crazy nowadays.
It's crazy.
So the fact that, and then you get some people that even say, they don't want to get married. Marriage is all about the business. It's all about the what justifies this paper, justifies the love that we have for each other. It gets to a whole bigger scale of things, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just felt like, bringing you guys up here, that like I said, you guys been married for 23 years, so it's something is working, and and if y'all can help anybody else or give a message to anybody else, this is why I gave y'all opportunity to deliver that message on my platform, and I'm happy that y'all came up here.
We thank you, man,
so
for
much for
this
having us.
opportunity.
Thank you.
It's been a blessing.
And that's it, baby. Reggie Roundz is out of here. Ooh, there we go. Thank you, guys.